Hi, all. It's Coach Chuck Ray with Winthrop University. Hope you're doing great at this crazy time of year. With the extended time at home, I was hoping to get a bit more work done than I have so far. I have 4-year-old twins here at the house, and so if they come banging through the door, you'll understand why I'm interrupted. Just wanted to follow up on one of my blog posts on positive coaching. I have had a lot of feedback, mostly positive feedback. At the AVCA convention, had a lot of people asking questions and follow up afterwards over the last few months, and so this is a great time to catch up and continue to explore that particular topic. If you hadn't had a chance to read my blog post at coachray.com, no penalties, no suicide championship season. We had a pretty good year last year, and we are one that does not have penalties in our gym. We rely on our strength coach and trainer to do our sprints. They're the experts, we're not. And in that blog post, it kind of goes through my growth process from being a coach that did have sprints in the gym to a coach that now has none. And so it's been a great transformation, I think, for culture, for our team, and I think for the growth of sport in general. A lot of the questions I get is how do I hold players accountable? And the best explanation, or at least one example of the explanation, is if a ball is hit between two players and neither go for the particular ball, and we don't see the effort that we're supposed to see at that time, at least in the past, maybe there'd be some type of consequence, a physical consequence. It could be a sprint, it could be a push-up, sit-up, whatever it might be. Or it could be that particular, both players were kicked off the court and then were able to come back another time. Oftentimes there is a root problem or a root issue that happens way before the actual event occurs. And in that particular case, and in most cases, it's not a lack of effort. In my opinion, most players want to make the move. It could be a system thing, it could be a relationship thing, but oftentimes it is based on a vision or a reading type thing. They did not see something that happened before, and because of that particular vision or the particular read was made incorrectly, the effort didn't appear to be there, and so it almost looks as if they're paralyzed in those particular ways. And that's really on us as coaches, that when that particular movement is not made, it's not a physical effort that's not being made, but more a mental or vision thing that we haven't trained within our athletes to help them to make those moves beforehand. And so it's going and speaking with them, talking to them, understanding what they see, what the read is, what the set was, what the hitter was doing, and going through all the different steps prior to what led to that lack of quote-unquote effort that we might not have seen. And when you relay in those particular contexts to our athletes how the vision is hampering the movement, it helps them to understand and process why moving forward we're able to kind of create, I wouldn't say culture, but that system, that movement that is missing, or as we think about it, that lack of effort. And quite honestly, most issues, conflicts, problems don't typically stem from whatever that direct action is. And what I mean by that is, should a fight break out between two players on a court, oftentimes the physical act you see is a result of things that happened way before that physical act is happening. There were probably some conflicts in the locker room. It could be, with a boyfriend-girlfriend type issue. Whatever that particular conflict was, finally broke enough and rose to enough to occasion where some type of conflict had happened, or physical fight had happened. And so, whenever we deal with our student athletes, it's looking at them and understanding beyond the root of that particular issue that they're bringing to you. Happens a lot of times in conversations about, could be a playing time type thing, could be a roommate issue, it could even be a nutrition type thing where they're not eating correctly, and along those things. And really, in today's culture and where we are today, sitting in the corner of my particular room here, I believe a lot of this coronavirus itself has stemmed from each and every one of us And we're more the root problem of this whole issue than the actual virus itself. And I say that because before I got into coaching, I spent 10 years in international marketing. I was over in Asia 4 or 5 times a year, uh, importing product from Asia, physically going into those sweatshops where young children were working, and very disturbing. And eventually, one of the things that kind of drove me out of the business world was some of those things that we would do unethically, or even unknowingly unethically. Every one of us is using a device that was most likely made in Asia, most likely made in conditions that are not up to U.S. standards. And it's very easy for us in the U.S. to not see it and overlook those particular standards. And if you look at something like precious metals are not found here in the United States because it creates so much waste, but yet the precious metals that are in our machines are being found and discovered and resourced up in China. But here at Americans, because we don't see it, we don't understand it, we're willing to pay lower price for our particular goods. And so now it creates a culture over there where there's a lot more pollution. They strip a lot more of their resources. And we get things that happen like in the markets that are in Asia of very unclean, unhealthy conditions. And those conditions continue. This is not the first virus, but continue to proliferate and make these viruses known and become this epidemic. And it may sound as if it's a little bit far-fetched, but each one of us is responsible for what's going on. And if we want to continue to buy cheap items, we are going to continue to pay the price in the resources that in the way they're found. If we buy things that are regulated, such as in the United States, it's going to cost more, but in the long run, it won't cost as much because this whole pandemic is costing us all a whole lot of money. So that is a huge tangent. As with most coaches, we go off on these crazy tangents, and our team is taking a knee now, like, all right, coach, where are we going with this? But it kind of gives you, I guess, a little bit insight in who we are and what we do. But positive coaching, I'm still all about it, and hopefully we continue to spread that particular wealth. And wash your hands, stay safe, and have a great day, and make the best of your day.